Hey, welcome back to day 4. Holy, it's day 4. I'm glad you're still with me. In fact, maybe I might be a little surprised you're still hanging out with me, but if you are here today, you're obviously getting a lot of what we're talking about. And this is it, man. This is the core stuff. I hope what you see so far and what I'm sharing with you is so impactful that you are literally making changes in how you are showing up in all relationships, how you're leading, how you're parenting, how you're communicating with your significant others. If you're dating, if you're just sleeping with someone, how you're communicating with them as well. If you have pets, how you're now communicating with your pets, and even better, hopefully you're watching some like shows or movies or whatever your entertainment factor is, and you're able to identify those different ego states, because that's all part of the exercise as well. Being able to pay attention to who sits in front of you and how you can contribute to them being the adult. Now look, the ultimate answer isn't just to get them in adults. Again, dealing with people, there's layers to this. What I'm doing with you this week is giving you a quick toolbox, just a set of tools that you can literally start to immediately use. Yes, we want to spend more time with you going through things like coaching and some of our other programs where we could go way deeper. But again, I learned this a long time ago. You want to be successful in life, operate in the effort of serving, of giving. I learned this concept so long ago, which is something called servant leadership. Just the name, servant leadership. And it's a really interesting concept, and there's 11 core aspects or 11 key values that go into being a servant leader. But the basic premise of it all is, as a leader, you are here to serve talent, you're here to mentor, you're here to give, you're here to stretch of yourself, you're here to help people lift. And I've said this from day one. In fact, anyone that's actually worked with my company, if you work at WITS, this will be one of the greatest launching pads for you in life and your career, or you're going to be with me for life. And I literally have those two camps. I got a camp of people that have been around for the last 20 years with me, and I've got a camp of people that are doing amazingly well in their life right now in their own careers. And that's what gets me up in the morning. That's what allows me to do what I do. At the end of the day, we're doing really good stuff. And this type of training, this type of knowledge, this type of understanding is literally making humans better humans. I know it sounds cheesy, but that's it, making humans better humans. Like, what else is worth it? Why else are we here? We got to remember that at the end of the day, the way we show up contributes to community, to business, to people. And I keep saying this, you got a massive responsibility. Don't take this shit for granted, right? The way you communicate with the kids or your spouse, everyone, it's so important. Okay, so here's what messes you all up. I said today's about emotional intelligence. And everything I've just spoken about sounds good, right? Sounds really good being able to communicate. Sounds really good to have a good ability to influence and contribute to people's lives and all that. But guess what? We deal with shit. I remember when my father passed away, I found myself knee deep in life going, I've just taken over the business. I haven't really been schooled well. There's been a bunch of challenges go on. It was a massive, massive, massive moment in my life where things like uncertainty and disconnection and insecurity all started to kick in. And it was going through or having the emotional management tools that allowed me to start to navigate that more effectively. So, what are the 3 core aspects for emotional intelligence? Number 1, self-awareness. Being truly self-aware of your personality, of the behavior, of the emotions. And again, I've been saying this the whole time. Self-awareness isn't this warm, fuzzy exercise where you get to look how great you are. You have to look at where things are not working. Back to the self-esteem stuff. If you are lowering your self-esteem, I guarantee you there are some answers in self-awareness. Starting to examine, how are you showing up in these different situations? You've got ego states. You've got this language for self-awareness right now. You've actually now got a language that allows you to say things like, whoa, I'm this excessive critical parent right now, I need to dial it down. Before you would say things like, well, I don't know, this is just the way I am, right? BS, an excuse. Now you get to take real ownership. Now, like anything you do in life, exercise, taking on a new hobby. I'm trying to teach my kids right now how to do a wheelie. Back in the day I could do it, but trying to do it at close to 43 years old is a little difficult. But at the end of the day, I've got this language that allows me to be way more intentional when it comes down to self-awareness. All right, number 2, it's called self-management. The clinical term is affect regulate. Affect, regulate. Temperature boils up, I can do things that contribute to that coming down. Now, if you've ever been on a plane or in an airport, you have demonstrated this ability to self-manage. You know when you literally want to scream on the airplane, you want to throw the food, the bar cart's not coming enough, or you're traveling internationally, you're crossing borders where you got to stand in custom line, and you literally have to be the most well-behaved person. You have to be well-behaved during security. You got to empty your pockets, you got to smile, you got to take off half your clothes and your shoes. You're happy to do all of this. Now, the whole time you're sitting there, you literally, if you had the choice, if you didn't have an ability to affect regulate, to self-manage, you would freak out in that moment. Because that environment doesn't actually contribute to you thinking well. It contributes to you being suppressed. And most people want to break out. On a plane, when you have to sit there, if you've ever been delayed, where you're sitting on the tarmac for hours. In fact, the one thing I like about COVID is I don't have to travel anymore. I mean, the amount of hours I used to sit in planes. You just have to sit there calmly. I'll never forget this. I flew back. I was working with a client in England, and I had to fly back, and the TVs went down. It's a 9-hour flight. I'm okay sitting on a plane when I could watch TV. It allows me to self-manage, but when that TV went out, oh boy, it took a lot more work, right? And of course, wasn't prepared with things like an iPad or magazines. Self-management in your relationship looks like this. When your spouse does that thing where they just hit that button in you, where you literally want to drop kick them from the third rail of your stairs, but you don't. When they bait you, they try to hook you. They try to sort of push that button and get you to erupt, but you hold your stuff together. In the meeting, when you're dealing with that client where you literally want to jump across the table and maybe not drop kick them, but strangle them. When you want to say the thing to the person, but you don't. When you want to close the gap when you're driving a car, but you don't. Self-management, ladies and gentlemen, you have the capacity. Now, it requires one very important ego state. It requires your adult ego state. Your adult ego state is always assessing, evaluating, thinking, taking in information, processing things, right? This is what helps me analyze and understand what I need to do. This morning, I just happened to be, again, on point with the kids this morning, but my wife was stressed. She had to get out the door. She was running off to a meeting. She's a high-level executive. She kicks ass, and of course, is trying to sort of also support and get the kids all ready. And she just couldn't self-manage. She was overwhelmed. So her communication was jeopardized as well, right? In other words, became more directive and controlling and aggressive. Today, like I said, I just happened to hold my shit together today. That's it. That's the only difference between me and my wife today. Today, I was able to do this. Why? I just was. But there are many days that I rely on my wife for her to self-manage in order for me. Because here's the trick sometimes. Sometimes in your ability to self-manage in the moment contributes to the other person self-managing. Remember I said earlier in the videos, the greatest parenting tool, the greatest leadership tool you have is how you model the behavior, how you communicate. Ladies and gentlemen, this shit's easy. It's so easy for us to be so successful in our relationships if we can just do this. And again, here's the people respond as treated thing again. All it takes is for you to just hold it together. Just self-management, and someone else anchors onto that. You've been in the moment when your anxiety's been high and you've looked towards a person and they said, it's cool, don't worry, you'll be okay. And you've gone like, oh, okay. Their ability to be calm, to be centered, to be focused, to be present allowed you to do as well. Daniel Goleman wrote an amazing book. If you want to learn about emotional intelligence, download, read, whatever, buy his book. He's like the grandfather. He's like the guru, one of the originators of the whole concept of emotional intelligence. Right? Talks about these three things. And number 3, relationship management. Now, I want to be very, very clear in what this is. This is in how you communicate. This is what comes out. Okay, you could be self-aware, awesome, good for you. You could self-manage in that moment, but then what comes out of your mouth next, how you interact with that person, this gets disrupted, that's not emotional management. My angry child's going right now. I want to kill them, or I'm getting really frustrated and I want to say the thing that I just want to say it to them. I just want to really make them feel the way I feel. Okay, hold on. Here's my adult going. Let me think about this for a second. All right, what's my objective? What's my circle of wants? You know, how's this situation going to contribute to my self-esteem? Is it going to help me move forward? Is it going to start to knock me down? Is this a situational thing that I'm dealing with right now? Or is it environmental? Is it ongoing? Okay, pretty good so far. Now I gotta go talk to the person. And guess what happens? As I go and speak to the individual, and I do this so well, people respond as treated. There's that Pratt again, right? People respond as treated. If people respond as treated, you respond as treated. And you approach me like, hi, can I talk to you about the situation the other day? And whack! They come at you with that angry child. F you, I'm tired of this, you always do that. Or critical parent, I'm not talking about that. Whatever, right? And it's just that zinger. And what happens in that moment, so if you like Pratt, people respond as treated, you'll love this one. Hashtag, I got hooked. I went from being pretty adult to they literally yanked me out of that adult ego state and shoved me into child and now said, talk. And you know that you cannot communicate well when your child ego state is going. And that's where you get hooked. So the trick to relationship management is to not respond as treated, to recognize the hook, and then this becomes the cycle. We start all over again, right? This is the secret sauce to emotional intelligence. It's not this linear thing that you do, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's this ongoing circular thing. It's always happening. Self-awareness, angry child, self-management did. As I spoke to the person, they threw a zinger. I got hooked. Oh, there it is. There's my angry child again. All right, let me start this whole cycle again. Now we keep following this cycle until this happens. Relationship management, people respond as treated? No, I did not get hooked. I still might feel what I feel, but I'm not getting hooked into communicating badly. People respond as treated. I'm going to take the higher ground on this. I'm going to communicate regardless to their adult. And that's it. That is your ability to demonstrate not just emotional intelligence, but emotional maturity. You want to talk about how you develop resilience and grit and tenacity when it comes down to emotions? This is it. Let's examine what's happening with the emotions. Let's look at how I'm contributing to those emotions, and let me see what I need to do with other people to have them not hook me. And I go over and over and over. And here is something that we practice. It's called the stop concept. It's a very easy concept, but it does this. We need to pause our instinctive reaction when it comes down to getting hooked. The other thing that people tend to physically do, by the way, and this is a sign, this is your physiology, this is the physical sign. When your emotions are high, you most likely hold your breath. You get tense. We do it all the time. I'm about to say something and let's say I'm aggressive, I do this. Right? Like I take that inhale, my teeth clench, my hands clench. In the car, someone cuts me off. What do? I tense up. When I'm feeling anxious, I tense up. This is your body, your physical body saying to you, your system is getting ready to fight or flight. Your body, your muscles are getting activated. There's blood flowing into your body right now because your physiology, your survival brain right now in this emotional situation is doing this. Run or fight. The Neanderthals, had to run, had to avoid, or had to fight. You don't have to do this. But what do we know about epigenetics? What do we know about neurological connections and pathways? What do we know about this whole world that we feel the same thing that our ancestors felt? Today, it's not the thing that's going to eat you. It's not the tiger, but it's the conflict. It's the threat of losing your job. It's the threat to your marriage. It's the threat to your kids not listening to you. It's the threat of not being respected. These are the emotional threats that we feel or that we experience, and we have to recognize that it's important for us to manage them. Okay, that's it for today. I'm exhausted. I mean, this is intense stuff, and I hope you are literally sucking this in and going and applying it. Because all I wanted to do with you this week was give you as much as I can. And if I'm coming across intense and if I'm turning purple in the face, and if you see my angry child and my critical parent, no, this is it, man. This is what it's all about. It's about understanding this stuff and really getting excited about practicing. I've literally said I've been doing this for 25 years. Today, 25, and I bet you for the next 25 years, I'm never actually going to be masterful at this stuff. For me, for Greg, this is something I practice. This is practice. It's like breathing. I practice breathing. I wish I could levitate. I wish I could do the Iceman, Wim Hof. Like, he's awesome, but just, it's a practice. Yoga is a practice. Leadership is a practice. Being an entrepreneur is a practice. Even parenting is a practice. But number one rule is you have to live with. The number one responsibility is you have to do it better tomorrow than you did it today. I hope it's been exciting for you. I hope you've learned a lot this week. Tomorrow, day 5, is going to be the last video. So I got something special for you tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Until then,